My guest today is a 7-year NFL veteran after a standout career at the Ohio State University. It's my pleasure to welcome to the program the host of the Bobby Carpenter Show, Bobby Carpenter. How's it going, man?
It's going good, Ricky. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. First of all, I got to say, anybody whose father was a Houston Oiler, I'm immediately on that guy's side. So we're practically second cousins as far as I'm concerned, Bobby. Look, we got a big one this weekend in Columbus, Ohio, to say the least. And you know a little something about big games at the Horseshoe. You know a little something about being an Ohio State Buckeye. You played 50 games for Ohio State there over the course of your career, won a national championship as well. Where does this Texas-Ohio State tilt that we're looking at on Saturday rank among the big games that you can reflect on in your memory in Columbus?
Oh goodness, what's up near the top? I mean, I call these, the big state U games. Some people call them logo games, helmet games. There's just the iconic brands that are in college football, and you start rattling off the list, and whether you've got USC and Ohio State and Texas, Oklahoma, Bama, Georgia, Notre Dame, Michigan, like all of these, Florida, there's about a handful, and everybody knows them. You recognize them. You see the helmets. You know exactly what's going on. And those are the teams that if you looked up the AP poll rankings back in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, they're the reoccurring characters. And, fortunately, I was able to be part of one of these games back in 2005 against Vince Young. And their squad, very, very good. We came up short. Next year, Ohio State returned the favor, went down to Austin and won. And so that was one of the rare times where you have the home and the away team wins each one. In each one of those situations, Texas beat us in 05. They go to win national championship. 06, a lot of my true freshman class was back that was redshirted, including Troy Smith. They go on to play for a national title before losing to Florida. And so the pantheon of these games at Ohio State, it's like if you're playing Notre Dame, in a non-conference game. They've had times where they played USC before they joined the Big Ten, but it's games like that, and it's unique because it's not a neutral site, it's not a bowl game, and I love these games to be played on campus in their native stadiums because it gives a little extra juice for me.
Bobby, as a player, what was it like? And I don't know, who you guys were opening with during your 4 years at Ohio State, but as a player, does it hit different when you look at that schedule and you see game one right out of the chute is a pay-per-view heavyweight championship fight kind of contest? Does it give you a little extra something as you're going through practice because you're coming out of the chute immediately going to be tested?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, you look at the off season, it's long. You have spring ball, you've got winter conditioning, you've got the summer workouts, and then you get to training camp. And usually in college, and most coaches, they would much rather see a big game be the second or third game of the year. That way, because there's no preseason, get a chance to look at some things. You're only playing against each other. You think you know what you have, but you're not exactly sure. We played Texas. It was the second game of the year. So you get a little bit of, greasing up and you get to kind of wade on in like you're walking into the beach. This is like going off the high dive. I mean, there's no feeling the water. You may throw a rock in to see what it looks like, but at the end of it, like you're jumping right in. And really these two teams, I mean, Texas is playing Ohio State in back-to-back games. This is 2 of 3 for Ohio State with Notre Dame jammed in the middle. But despite that, these teams are very different. I think there's 25 guys that were drafted off of these teams in the NFL, and everyone still talks about them as if they're the most talented in the country because their programs are great, but still they're going to have a different look. They're going to have a different feel, trying to understand what teams do. And so don't be surprised. Like everyone, I think, looks at college football now and you want to see these games in the 40s and 50s. I think this game's probably going to exist more in the low 20s. First team to 24 probably wins it. Not all that different than the matchup you saw at the Cotton Bowl prior. And got some young quarterbacks. As good and talented as they are, I think both coaches probably don't want to take them out to the edge of the plank and let them try to navigate it themselves. Want to get the running game going and want to make sure they don't make mistakes. So when you have these games to open the year, there's a lot of uncertainty that you got to figure out. But for a player, it makes it exciting. And for fans like us, I mean, there's no better way to start the season.
Well, you look at it on paper and you see Texas and Ohio State, And the uninitiated might ask the question, what the hell does Michigan have to do with this? But as you know, Dave Portnoy, who is the ultimate Wolverine troll, I suppose it would be fair to say, you have found yourself embroiled in a little something of an online feud with Dave Portnoy in recent times here. From your perspective, Bobby, tell me about how the sort of I don't know, back and forth between yourself and Dave Portnoy got started.
Yeah, there was a comment. I was on another show that I do regularly, and yeah, I know people at Ohio State, fans, everybody, they're not all that excited when you hire a Michigan guy on the desk. And not that just he's a Michigan guy, but there's some of the things he said, some of the things he's accused Ryan of over the years, with everything that's gone on. And listen, I don't mind Dave. I like some of the stuff that Barstool does. Some of the things I can leave at the door. He's been very successful. And I said there might be people at Ohio State that weren't all that happy that he was hired. Somehow that turned into, well, they're not going to let him into the stadium, as if I had confirmed that and sourced that, which I never had and I never claimed to. So, and unfortunately, it's added a layer to this game. I mean, it's the head-to-head matchup just became a little bit of a three-way situation. So there's a little bit of confusion there trying to figure this out. I'm not sure exactly what the whole resolution is going to be. I know Fox has been working with the Big Ten, and they're trying to figure some stuff out and what exactly is going to occur. But I mean, that's kind of the end of it. And said, I have no ill will against Dave Portnoy. And at 42 years old, Ricky, I'm not near as rambunctious as I was when I was younger. And so it's like, hey, man, you want to have your opinion? You want to say some things about me? That's fine. I'm good with it. I'm going to head down to Ohio Stadium. I'm going to watch a hell of a football game, hopefully on Saturday afternoon.
Well, Pat McAfee was sort of a lightning rod where, people either really loved him, some people not a huge fan of him. Apart from the little, issue that we've had here, the blip on the radar, between yourself and Dave Portnoy, do you think Dave's good for college football? Just in terms of his personality and his fan base and sort of his orientation to the way that he looks at things? Do you think it's going to be a good thing for college football on a broader scale than just you and Dave?
Well, I think Pat brought something unique to game day, and it needed a little shot in the arm. And Pat's the ultimate entertainer. But the guy also has football experience. And he played football at West Virginia. He was a punter, a kicker, punted a long time in the NFL, very successful. Hell, he got his start at Barstool and has done a great job. And I consider Pat a friend, and I really enjoy it. He's one of the most genuine and good-hearted people you'll find. I've never really talked to Dave like that. I'm not sure as to kind of his motives and what he's all about. I think it will bring added attention. It'll bring probably a new group. And I know a lot of, whether it's the NFL or college, they're continually trying to expand their viewership base. And this goes after the digital element and maybe another element of people that, I don't know. I think most of Portnoy's group is probably those that would fall in the subsect of people on the Venn diagram that kind of watch college football anyway. But I'm sure he's going to bring an added level of interest. And, whether people love him or hate him, some they tune in to watch. And so, if you're Fox, you're trying to garner eyeballs. And so that's probably a good thing for them. As far as the sport at large, well, that we'll have to figure that out here over the next coming month.
All right. Now, I saw Top Gun when I was in high school, and Kenny Loggins, singing about, going into the danger zone. And I went and saw Top Gun Maverick with my kids here a couple of years ago. And just watching that stuff has me on the end of my seat. You are now among the chosen few who know what that actually feels like. Bobby, tell me about the experience, how it came to happen, and what it's like going up there and experiencing firsthand what those guys do.
Well, a good friend of mine, AJ Hawk, he who's actually on the McAfee show, he's gotten to do a ride with the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds. And
it's 50 miles an hour.
To try to equate it to someone of what it's like the equivalent of flying. Commercially, it would be like riding a golf cart. And then this would be like driving a Maserati, except there's nowhere that you can go buy an F-18. I mean, these planes, they'll go 1,100 miles an hour, I think, if you let them. Their acceleration is crazy. You see the pop-up here. And there's no other way to train or prepare for that. It was one of the most remarkable experiences, while also being the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life, trying to survive that whole hour, not pass out. Uh, Major Scott Locks was amazing. Call sign Goldie. His wife is a Buckeye. She's from Central Ohio. They met at the Naval Academy, and she's trying to coax him to moving back here. But I love Top Gun. I've always had immense respect for our men and women in uniform. And my kids, I take them to watch it. I've watched Maverick probably 20 times. I saw it about 7 in theaters. And so I love it. And I always knew it was hard. I never knew just how hard it was. And so we have the best pilots in the world. These people are incredibly smart. They're intelligent. They're courageous, and they are tough as hell. And I wish I could say anything else. Like there's no other, you can't describe it to someone until they've actually kind of been a part of it, because it's like nothing else you ever experience on this earth.
At one point in the video, he had you upside down, and I don't know what he said, he was going 450. I don't know. He wasn't going nearly as fast as it can go, but you were only like 1,000 feet off the ground. What was the wildest part of it for you? What thing that he did? Because I know he was doing all kinds of stuff. What part of it was the highlight of the entire experience being up there for you?
So the G's are tough, and that's what keeps you from blacking out or gets you to black out. And that's one of the things I asked them in the debrief or in the briefing beforehand. I'm like, what's the sensation like, the experience? Because all these guys have done it. And he's like, you're going to feel it go gray, and then you're going to feel it kind of slowly creep in on you. And I was like in the movie? He goes, it's about as accurate as you're going to get. And so that was happening. The 7 G's was hard that we ended up pulling, and I was about to a porthole about that big for that one. But for me, I was dry even a little bit, and it wasn't the G's. We started doing like what I would refer to as barrel rolls. They had another term for it. And we're just like spinning back and forth, no G's on it. And he's like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm great. Like, I've never spun in a circle 3 times in about 5 seconds. Like the upside down, that was challenging, but we were about 1,000 feet the whole time. You talk about the hard deck. We're cruising around there, and it was awesome that we got to buzz like right over the stadium, right over the practice field while Ohio State was out there, and that was something pretty special.
I got to tell you, Bobby, after watching the video, I was happy to live vicariously through you. I don't think I would have navigated it quite as well as you handled that. Bobby, tell folks where they can find you. The Bobby Carpenter Show, outstanding stuff. Let our audience know how they can follow you and get all of the content that you put out there.
Yeah, I'm on X at BCarp3, Bobby Carpenter, Roman numeral 3 on IG. And then, my YouTube show that's out there, that Bobby Carpenter Show on YouTube. We do that daily throughout the season. A lot of Ohio State, but a lot of college football and some, popular stories in general. It's a lot of fun. My buddy and I, Anthony Schlegel, do it. Got a lot of great guests. AJ Hawk comes through. We're having Colt McCoy on tomorrow to preview that Ohio State-Texas game. And then I do some work as well on Sirius XM channel 84, 3 to 4 times a week as well.
All right, and Ohio State wins Saturday? Is that the
I like
prediction?
him in a close one, like a 21-17 game. It's going to be tight, and it's going to be a toss-up, but I think the home field matters in this one.
Good stuff. All right, well, Houston Oilers #1 as well. Give my regards to your father, who was a pretty damn good running back. We appreciate you, Bobby. Thank you for making time for us today.
Thank you. My only apology is like behind me, I've got a lot of stuff. For me, I've got some giant stuff of him. Someone called me out earlier this week on not having any Oilers things behind me, so I'm gonna have to grab some pictures from my dad.
Yeah, that would be a good move. That's a good move. More Houston Oilers in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Thanks a lot, Bobby.
Thanks, Ricky. Have a good one.